Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. 400th episode. I never thought I'm going to reach 400 episodes when I recorded it. The first one. And the reason was I started on a whim. But the love, support, encouragement I received from you all has made me go on and on and on. 4.5 years, 400 episodes. I'm absolutely, genuinely thankful from the very bottom of my heart. Because without your support, your words of encouragement, your kind appreciation, I couldn't have done it. You know, I have a full-time job. It's very difficult for me to do 400 episodes. But I've done it. I'm loving it. And the 400th episode I thought should be something special. So I thought I'll pick up 10 out of 10 fragrances from my collection. I did a similar video last year. So this is part 2. And there are 5 designers. 5 niche fragrances. Hope you're going to enjoy. Let's celebrate this episode with some amazing fragrances. So let's start. The very first fragrance on my list, when I reviewed it, I gave it a 9 out of 10. But then I looked at the reception, the reaction. People went and tried it. You all tried it. And you came back and said how amazing this fragrance is. It just blew your mind. So upgraded it to 10 out of 10. Guerlain Heritage Eau de Parfum. I've also reviewed the EDT Vintage, which I gave 10 out of 10. This one is an outstanding fragrance. It's a chypre. Wow. The moment you smell it, you know this is luxury in a bottle. It's a Guerlain, of course. It was at least in 1992. And I wouldn't go through most of the notes, but I'll give you a rough idea why this is a 10 out of 10. Number 1, complexity. Many layers, okay? The fragrance starts off smelling slightly green, yeah, very lemony, slightly powdery, and then it develops into a very resinous, rich, green, spicy, sandalwood amber kind of a dry down. It's a super complex, interesting, and rich, luxurious, and even sophisticated and very elegant fragrance. Very suitable for people in the 30+ age group. And also suitable for people who have a little bit of experience with multi-layered, complex sort of fragrances. So, Heritage EDP, number 1 in the list, yeah? Number 1 in the designer list. Next one is another very elegant fragrance. It bases itself around a vintage fragrance from the same house. It is Hermes BelAmi Vetiver. BelAmi was released in the 50s and is one of the most iconic fragrances to come out from the house of Hermes. This is just a spectacular reimagination of BelAmi, and it's been reimagined in the style of the noughties. I believe it came out this decade, last decade. I could be wrong. I've done a full review. Everything in this list has been, I've done a full review of those fragrances. So if you're interested, go check out the full review. So this one is around a fantastic Russian leather, note of Russian leather, and it's been mixed with beautiful resinous, sweet resins with tangy BelAmi and Vetiver. The body of the fragrance, and it also has, I think, castoreum. So the body of the fragrance is such that you are going to feel wrapped up in the warmth of one of the most sexiest and approachable masculine leather ever made. One of the most amazing fragrances. Again, gave it a 9. Then I looked at the reaction from people and I said this is going to be upgraded to a 10 out of 10. And it is a 10 out of 10. If you like leather and if you like slightly mature masculine leathers, yeah. So again, age group 30+. Ideal weather, autumn. These two are autumn. The weather has influenced my picks anyways. Next on my list is a sort of a tobacco fragrance which actually blew my mind when I first tested it. Again, I gave it a 9. People went and got this fragrance, and I think I'm upgrading it to 10 because it is discontinued, unfortunately, and it's one of the most nicest tobacco fragrances. Tobacco Reserve by Aramis. This was available for such a little amount of money. This was a cheapie. Now it's very hard to find and it's quite expensive. So this is a very strong, rich tobacco, and it's been coupled with spicy tonka. So it's creamy, rich tobacco with some spices, tonka and oak moss. It is one of the most amazingly seductive tobacco fragrances. No age group problems here. You could be a 20+ guy, no problems. And some days I like it even more, the tobacco note, even more than tobacco vanille. And tobacco vanille is one of my absolute favorite Tom Fords. This one, the tobacco note here, some days I feel it's better than tobacco vanille. And the richness of this fragrance is what's going to get you. So cold weather, if you're looking for an ultra seductive, comforting, masculine tobacco Reserve. Next on the list, it's a leather fragrance and I recently reviewed it. It is Rasasi La Yuquawam, another fragrance I did not like. When I first sprayed it, the opening, I still get it, the opening really scared me off. Some people say it smells like cocaine. Now, I haven't done anything in my life and I don't intend to, but the opening is still a little bit scary to me. And it smells a little bit like damp hay mixed with spices and something quite pungent, but it develops into one of the most spectacular takes on Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. And some days it smells even better than Tuscan Leather. Tuscan Leather has a note of raspberry. Here, the raspberry isn't there. It's more of a berry sauce, like you get with desserts. It's so rich, it's so creamy, it's so beautiful. The leather is outstanding. It's the sexiest masculine fragrance you can imagine. And obviously, when I reviewed it, some people just came back and said, they've tried it and they're just loving it. Some people do complain about the performance, so watch out for the performance. This is a really vintage bottle, 2015. So test out for the performance on the current bottles. But if you're looking for a very seductive leather, masculine leather, you're not afraid of wearing masculine scents, go for this. Again, you'll be confined to wearing this in winter. Some people wear this in summer. I couldn't. But if you're looking for a super, super seductive leather fragrance, La Yuquawam by Rasasi. Superb fragrance. The last one, another leather, very wearable leather. One of my favorites, Dior Parfum. Now this is discontinued, but the current version of Diorama Intense has this beautiful leather note, which is here as well. But this is not only leather, it's, I think, fantastic oud, superb cardamom as well, if I can remember correctly. But what I can say is, if you're looking for a statement maker, which is modern, approachable, liked by all age groups, and especially something that flattens women, if you're in the dating game and you really want to knock women out by your style, you have to have this fragrance in your collection. Diorama Parfum. If you can't get hold of this because of its discontinuation, the current version of Diorama Intense 2020 is superb. Get that if you can't get this. So I've reviewed that one as well. I've reviewed this one as well. Amazing. One of my absolute favorites, approachable leather. When I want to wear something which I want people to approach me rather than get scared of me. Now let's do 5 niche. 5 designers done. Number 1 is again an easy compliment magnet. And it's something that you don't have to think, you wear it, you attract people, people ask you what you're wearing, and even if they don't ask you what you're wearing, you wear it and you love it. It is Mancera's Cedrat Boise. This is a take on Aventus, but I think the Aventus lightness goes away very fast, in about half an hour. It's a beautiful citrus, woody, creamy sandalwood with a fruity heart. Aventus. And little moss. Just a stunning, everyday kind of fragrance that you don't have to think about. And whenever you wear, you feel amazing about yourself. And other people too as well. Such a beautiful compliment magnet. Cedrat Boise, it'll never fail you. I reviewed this 4 years ago. Yeah, people still watch that review and come back and tell me that they've bought this on my recommendation and they're loving it. Cedrat Boise will never fail you. So there you go. If you haven't tried it, you should. Next on my list is a complex, resinous, rich tobacco. Very, very different than tobacco vanille or Tobacco Reserve, Nishane, Fan Your Flames. This is probably the most complex fragrance in this whole lineup. So I would request you to test it out and see if it works for you. It's very funky, very funky and very unusual. It uses very different notes like coconut, spices, very masculine tobacco, tonka, and I think oak moss as well. It's very smoky, yeah, and a lot of booze. The booze just hit me. Rum, I believe. So boozy tobacco. Somebody once mentioned to me that boozy tobacco always gets him laid. One of my very famous friends. And I thought to myself, okay. And he's a massive fan of boozy fragrances. I suggested this to him. And, he considers me one of his top friends, best friends, because of this. So, and he's a playboy kind of a guy, still is. So, you can imagine. But you do test it out. Let's just see if it works in your skin, Let it sit on your skin, see if it works. Don't just go and blind buy if you haven't already. So again, one of my very early reviews, but do check it out. It's an amazing fragrance that is complex, rich, but slightly off the beaten track. Next one is again tobacco fragrance, but not off the beaten track. It's one of the most popular, most well-loved tobacco fragrances, and again, a compliment magnet. It's a superb tobacco fragrance. It's a honey tobacco. This one, Serge Lutens Chergui. I didn't realize I've got 3 tobacco fragrances in this lineup. It's amazing. And probably 3 leather as well. This is such a beautiful fragrance. The smell of this fragrance is so nice. It's hay, honey, tobacco, slightly powdery, slightly woody, airy. It's a very complex fragrance and very likable and just amazing actually. Chergui, try it out. If you haven't already, it's one of the most popular fragrances in the Fragcom. Everybody praises Chergui. Next on my list is an Amouage. How can I have a 10 out of 10 list without an Amouage? I could put at least 3 more Amouages in this list, but I've chosen this one because when I reviewed it, I gave it a 7. But when I wore it more and more, and when my taste changed a bit, I realized that I had underestimated this fragrance. This is one of the most nicest green fragrances, which I recommend highly now. Beach Hut Man. My bottle is a bit, banged up. This fragrance is a green, minty galbanum. Now, galbanum is not everybody's favorite. It's a very green note. It again has a mint, which is not everybody's favorite because mint normally scares people. They start thinking of toothpaste. And it's coupled with a sweet ivy vetiver note. Very chalky as well. I think there's orange as well. But this fragrance is so many things at the same time. It's minty green. It's a citrus summer kind of a fragrance. And then in the dry down, it has this woody, airy quality. It's a superb fragrance. Superb. You have to like green fragrances though. If you don't like green fragrances, still try it. Because the development and the dry down is just charismatic. But you have to like masculine fragrances. This is out and out masculine. So give it a try. One of the nicest Amouages I've tried. Amouage Beach Hut Man. The last one is again a green fragrance. This is one fragrance that I think is the best Tom Ford. Best. And the only Tom Ford bottle I own. Vert the Encens. Green Incense. This fragrance, it's just, the smell of this fragrance. It has this beautiful chocolatey, vibrant feel to it. And then wrap around it a beautiful green note, green smell. Pine, resin, boxwood, just unusual notes, unusual fragrance. The best way I can tell you is, if you like green fragrances, imagine yourself in a golden hue. Yeah, surrounding that green smell. It's green and gold at the same time. It's one of the most sexiest, one of the most unusual, one of the most stylish green fragrances, masculine fragrances I've ever smelt. And I've smelt many because green fragrances, I love nature. Green fragrances are very close to my heart. Vert de Encens, again discontinued, is one of the best fragrances in my collection, green fragrances. And I urge you to try it. You'll never look back. This is so stunning that once you spray it, you're just sold. You just want to wear it again and again and again. Vert de Encens. Can't go wrong. So that concludes my list of 10 out of 10 fragrances. I've reviewed every single one of them. So if you're interested, you can view the detailed sort of review. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you do give it a like. And once again, thank you for your amazing support, your kind words, your appreciation, your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.